Still joining just because we have a jam-packed schedule today. All right. Okay, so hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Christy Inauen. I am the Associate Director of Admissions Outreach for the Fully Employed MBA program. I'm joined here today by Stafford, Assistant Dean and Director of Admissions for Fully Employed MBA, and he'll be speaking to you all in a little bit after my brief presentation on the Fully Employed MBA program. Hope you're all staying dry. I know it's a rare day in Los Angeles. It's been pouring, although it looks a little bit better right now, which is nice. Hopefully it clears up soon. Let's go ahead. So again, I'm Associate Director of Admissions Outreach for Fully Employed MBA program. I've been on the team for about, losing track of time, 13 years now. So been on the team for a while, and it's been great to just, see the program evolve and just meet so many amazing students and alumni over the several years I've been around at Anderson. Before we get started, I want to thank Staff Assembly for always partnering with us and getting the word out to you all today about today's event. They're awesome, as you all know. And before I get into our Fully Employed MBA program details, I just like to start off by talking about the value of an MBA. For those of you who have been thinking about an MBA for a while, or for those of you who maybe haven't really thought about it till you've received the email from Staff Assembly the other day, we like to just kind of talk about how an MBA could help you, whether it is personally, professionally, in real time and in the future. So one thing that one value that an MBA would bring to you is honing your emotional intelligence and leadership skills. An MBA definitely gives you that boost as a leader, whether or not you have management experience already. This just takes you to that next level and helps you to effectively work on teams and just gain that confidence. So another point I like to bring up is the improved problem solving and critical thinking that an MBA gives you. You'll get that foundation, the foundation in business, so you understand the business language, but also you're going to be able to make more strategic decisions, and you'll see that just happening day to day, being able to apply what you're learning right away at work. 3, you gain a more comprehensive knowledge of business. So you may be an expert in your specific function area, but understanding the full picture and how all departments work together definitely just helps you navigate your career that much more clearly and be able to make a bigger impact. So number 4, an MBA helps you to differentiate yourself and access new job opportunities. Having an MBA makes you that much more competitive as a staff member, as a applicant, if you're looking for different job opportunities in the future. So definitely gives you that competitive edge. On average, MBA holders do earn more. We will be talking a bit about the return on investment a little bit later on in the presentation. And last but not least, an MBA helps you expand and diversify your network. Great thing about UCLA is, working at UCLA, you have access to so many amazing professionals. It's such a diverse place. You're constantly interacting with different people with different backgrounds, different skill sets. And we have UCLA Health, we have, the education, we have it all at UCLA. And so joining a MBA, a business school at UCLA Anderson and doing an MBA here at Anderson will expand your network that much more. So we have a huge network of alumni and students, not only in Los Angeles, but out of state and across the world, really. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So Here's just a quote for one of our more recent alumni, Arun Matai, who's a budget manager for LACMA. He says that the professional ROI comes from the ability to apply what he learned. And his personal ROI comes from the network and friendships that he's built. And these are people that he hopes to be connected with for the rest of his life. So we do hear that time and time again, is the relationships that are built during the program are just, it makes it all very worth it. So for those of you who are not familiar with Fully Employed MBA program at UCLA Anderson, it is one of our part-time programs at UCLA Anderson. And the other part-time program, which you're going to learn a little bit about later on as well, is the Executive MBA program, which is designed for more seasoned professionals. We'll get into what that means in a little while, but getting back to Fully Employed MBA, it is instant career impact. Joining an MBA, the Fully Employed MBA program at UCLA Anderson allows you to continue working while earning your MBA at UCLA without putting your career on hold, right? So you're keeping your salary, you're continuing to build on your work experience while obtaining your MBA. There's definitely a misconception very often that a part-time MBA program means that it's like night school, or that you're going to receive a separate type of degree or different faculty. But we really, really pride ourselves at UCLA Anderson that the Fully Employed MBA program does not put you in that kind of position. You're still going to get the same MBA. You're getting an MBA from UCLA Anderson, whether you do a full-time executive MBA or Fully Employed MBA program. It's the same faculty, same curriculum. So it really, you're getting it all while continuing to work full-time. So you're putting it to use right away. You'll see how it all ties in at work the next day, really. So let's see, going on to the next slide. A little bit of a delay. Okay, here we go. So Fully Employed MBA program is a 80-unit program. The first 38 units are your core courses, and then you'll get into your elective courses, which consist of 34 units. And then you end with your 8-unit capstone project. So we only start once a year in the fall. We don't have a spring cohort. So it is a quarter system. You will be completing the majority of the core during the first year and a half of the program. Typically, you're taking 2 classes at a time. There is one quarter where you're taking 3 courses at a time, and it's because 2 of the courses are a lower unit count. So it basically adds up to a full course. So it is a 3-year program, standard, but we do have the option to accelerate. If you are interested in completing it a little quicker, you can complete it within 27 months, if that works better for you. And then if you needed a little bit more time to complete the program, you do have up to 5 years to complete the program. So it's very flexible. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why it takes, here we go. So just want to briefly mention our rankings. So for 27 consecutive years, we've been #1 in Southern California. We really, really work hard with our students and administration every year to make sure our program is consistently ranked at the top. So we want to make sure that we're constantly introducing new opportunities, newer global opportunities that I'll talk about in a little bit as well. We have introduced a new leadership development specialization, and we're just making sure to be innovative at all times and make sure the students have a great overall experience. So that's why we're consistently ranked so highly all the time, and also because of our faculty, our amazing faculty. So moving on to the schedule options. So as I mentioned, this program is designed for full-time working professionals. So we do have 3 schedule options that you can choose from to complete the core courses of the program, which is the first year and a half. And so one option would be to do weeknights. So This might be a great option for many of you because many of you work on campus. So walking on over to class at the end of a work day could make a lot of sense. You have, so the weeknight schedule, which is a Tuesday and Thursday evenings on campus from 6:30 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. So that's every week on campus, Tuesday, Thursday evening. Or for those of you who are maybe more morning people or would prefer to, just be here on campus on a weekend, we have all day Saturday. So it's every Saturday. The morning class is 9:30 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. The afternoon class is 2 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. So you do have like a pretty good lunch break. And then after class, you either can stick around, do some more networking, go to a happy hour, or just call it a day. So it's very, very flexible. And then the hybrid schedule is the third option, which is a combination of online and on campus. So this one only requires students to be on campus one weekend per month. And the rest is done online, which consists of like web-based lectures, interactive group work, and other online learning tools. So again, very flexible, and you're choosing one of these through to complete the core courses, which is the first half of the program. And then once the electives begin, you can change your schedule option depending on whichever electives interest you. Everyone takes the same core courses. Once the electives begin, we have an amazing variety of specializations. If you want to specialize in a specific area, from finance to tech management, to entertainment, sustainability, social impact. I mean, there really is something for everybody. So we definitely have had students do more than one specialization. We've also had students do no specialization and just explore electives quarter by quarter, which is totally fine too. So it's there's definitely no shortage of options. So one thing I definitely like to highlight is our international experiences during the program, which are optional. So if you enjoy traveling and you want to get credit for traveling towards your MBA completion, we do offer global immersions and international exchanges throughout the program. So again, they're optional. They're only 1 week abroad, and we go all over the world, really. So we go to Peru, Brazil, India, Israel, Japan. And each of these countries that we travel to have a different focus of study. So you're learning about business in that country specifically, which is definitely one of the highlights of the program. If you opt into one of these, it is an additional fee of about $2,500 to $3,000, depending on the location. But it's amazing. There's definitely not only the opportunity to learn about business in that country, but also do some exploration and even extend the trip a little bit if you wanted to. So those are international options. One thing I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about our curriculum is, everyone has to complete the program with the capstone project, which is an 8-unit project at the end of the program. So if you're interested in doing a consulting project for your capstone project, we do have the Global Access program, which also gives you the opportunity to travel possibly. Or for those of you who are interested in entrepreneurship, you could do your capstone project focus on entrepreneurship, and that would be our business creation project. So for those of you who are entrepreneurs, we definitely have a lot of opportunities for exploring entrepreneurship. Another thing that we'd like to highlight is our dedicated career services team. So as fully employed MBA students, you get your own career team. They have a lot of experience working with professionals who are currently working, who are either looking to get promoted, maybe explore a different career path, or maybe start their own entrepreneurial venture. So they offer one-on-one coaching, they offer workshops, you get access to industry experts, even alumni in residence, executives in residence, and our students do get access to on-campus recruiting. So again, that's definitely something unique to Anderson. Not all all business schools allow their part-time students to get access to on-campus recruiting for internships and jobs. So it's definitely an option. So moving on, I know we have a jam-packed schedule, so I'm going to try to wrap this up pretty quickly. As I mentioned earlier, you get access to a huge and amazing network of alumni as being part of the UCLA Anderson family. So you get lifetime membership to the Anderson network. You can join global chapters, local chapters. We have continued career services for alumni. So being part of the Anderson network definitely makes a difference in your career. So talking about cost and financial aid. So obviously obtaining an MBA is a major investment in yourself. Roughly the total cost of the program would be $140K. So it does follow a per unit cost model. We do offer some need-based fellowships during the program. And most students will use a combination of loans, fellowships, and sponsorships to be able to finance the program. And one great thing about being a UCLA staff member is that you actually get the $30K total UCLA staff fellowship. It is dispersed yearly throughout the program. So if you continue to be employed at UCLA throughout the program, the total award would be $30K. So that's huge. That's definitely a big benefit of being a staff member. We also are happy to waive the application fee, the $200 application fee, if you decide to apply. But, you know, overall, being able to continue working while going to school is a huge financial benefit as well. The income definitely helps offset the cost as well. So I like to always follow this slide with the return on investment, which Assistant Dean Stafford, Dylan Stafford, will be going over again in a little while. But this is just an overview of the return on investment for our fully employed MBA graduates. We did survey 3 class years, more recent class years, and 75% of each class responded with this data. So on average, graduates saw an increase in salary of 61% for the class of 2022, 62% for class of 2021, 55% for class of 2020. So you can see that there's definitely a clear return on investment 4 months after graduation. This is data from 4 months after graduation. And 80% on average received a promotion or switched roles or company or industry during FEMBA. So a lot happens during FEMBA and obviously right after graduation. So for those of you who are considering applying anytime soon, we actually do still have time for this fall's incoming class. So we have one more official deadline on April 4th to apply. We do require 2 essays, 2 letters of recommendation, transcripts. In most cases, we will require a GMAT or GRE or executive assessment test. However, there are some cases where we will consider waivers for the test requirement. Some medical doctors, some PhDs might qualify. They would just have to email us to confirm. And as I mentioned earlier, we will waive the $200 application fee for UCLA staff applicants. So once you're ready to apply, once you're ready to submit, we are happy to just waive that so you don't have to pay. So I mentioned the official deadline is April 4th for round 3, and you would receive a decision by June 16th if you apply by then. However, if you're okay with a later decision, we are doing rolling admission until May 31st. So you do have technically until the end of May to apply and to take the exam, and you would receive a later decision than June 16th, but still on time for the fall start. So please reach out to us if you have any concerns on whether or not you think you'd be ready for this year, but you're interested in applying for this year. Please reach out. We're happy to help. I mentioned earlier a couple ways to get the test waiver for medical doctors and PhDs. And this year, we're introducing a third possible option for a test waiver called UC Connect. So for any of you who are UC alumni, whether you graduated from a UC school, undergrad, or master's program, you may qualify if you meet certain criteria. So if you have a UC GPA of 3.2 in business or a STEM major, you would probably be able to waive out of the test exam, the test requirement. Or if you have a UC GPA of 3.4 in a non-business or STEM major area, and you have a CPA, you're a CPA or a CFA or license in a quant field, or have a B or better in a UC quant course, you may qualify for the test waiver. But I know this might be a little complicated. So again, feel free to reach out. We're happy to just review you for candidacy for the UC Connect test waiver. We're happy to discuss. So before I hand it over to Assistant Dean Dylan Stafford, I want to introduce our colleague on the Executive MBA team, Debbie Quigley, who will be talking to you a bit about our Executive MBA programs. But before I introduce her, I just want to make sure you guys are aware of like the basic differences between fully employed MBA and executive MBA. On average, students have about 14 years of experience in the executive MBA program, whereas in the fully employed MBA program, our students have about like 7 years on average coming into the program. So really, it's just the student profile averages are the biggest difference. It's the same degree, same core courses. So Debbie, please pop on in. I think you're here.
Hi there.
Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yes, I actually love listening to all your slides. As a semi-new person to the team, it's great to see there are so many similarities between the two programs. And as you mentioned, it's really the profile of the student that's different. So just wanted to kind of highlight a couple of things. We do also give fellowships. It's a 22-month program. So we give a $20,000 staff fellowship, not 30. Just as an aside, please do reach out to me if you have any questions, because there's certain things I don't want you to have to write them all down right now, but kind of important, no GMAT or GRE is required to apply to the EMBA program. As Christy said, 14 years is the average work experience, 8 is the minimum, with 5 in a leadership position. So managing people, projects, or budgets. Let's see what else. Yeah, in terms of the structure, it is cohort based, so it's a 22-month program. So that's the other big difference, I would say, is it's a shorter program. You do go in lockstep with your cohort to do all of the core curriculum. The global immersion trip is included in the tuition. Tuition is a little bit more. Right now it's about $178, and they'll be announcing kind of the new tuition coming in for fall. End of July, I believe. And we do also have the application still open. Our deadline is May 1st for the fall cohort. It's 1 start a year, so 1 cohort a year, a variety of specializations. And again, amazing faculty, great connections. The networking is, a really major draw for a lot of folks. And please reach out to me or anybody on our team if you have questions. I'd be happy to set up a time to speak with you. Anything else, Christy, that you wanted me to touch on?
No, I think that's perfect, Debbie. I think the biggest message to you all, if you're unsure of which program is right for you, Debbie and I, Dylan, like all of our teams are very happy to help. So just reach out. Yeah. And yeah. Debbie, feel free to stick around if you want, or if you need to go.
And I'll just drop my email again into the chat if anyone's going to want to connect. And we do actually, one last quick thing. We don't have too many coming up because it's finals, but we do offer class visits. So you can actually come and sit in a class to kind of get the feel for it and hear the conversation. And yeah, if you have any questions about your qualifications and candidacy, please reach out. Thanks again, you guys, for including us. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, Debbie. Awesome. Okay. So sorry, we're running a tiny bit late here, but, and that's totally my fault. I went over, but I would like to introduce Dylan Stafford, who is our Assistant Dean and Director of Admissions for the Fully Employed MBA program. He'll be speaking to you all before we transition to the panel. So Dylan, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Christy. Is my slide showing okay?
Yes.
All right. Big round of applause for Christy. So great getting to be together. Christy had to take some time away to live her life for a year, and she's back, and we're so grateful. And Debbie, so wonderful to have you on the team. I'll be quick because we've got a fantastic panel. Nancy, David, and Andy are currently working at UCLA while they go to the Fully Employed MBA program. So let me just see if I can't squeeze this in kind of quickly. I know there are some one-off questions that people are sending me. I won't be able to answer those independently, but we'll try to catch up to the questions in the chat, and you know, we'll get everybody taken care of. So just real quick, I'm an assistant dean. I've been here, I'm in my 21st year, and I'm sharing actually kind of as a person who earned an MBA, for whom that MBA really opened up a career. So let me just kind of accelerate through here. You know, once upon a time, I was a student affairs officer at Texas A&M. I went to Texas A&M in undergrad and spent my very first year after I graduated from college as a recruiter for that school, recruiting national merit students, national merit scholars, and high achieving African-American and Hispanic students. I thought I was going to go to law school, and when it got right down to it, didn't want to go to law school. My father is a minister, my mother's a school teacher. So I got an MBA because I didn't know how to read the business section of the newspaper, and I didn't know what to do with my life. And I went to the University of Chicago, and this is my journey. I'd graduated from Texas A&M with no loans, and then I was making $16,800 as a student affairs officer in 1991 back in College Station, Texas. Then I borrowed about $80,000 to be a full-time MBA student, which is different than what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about a fully employed MBA program where you keep your salary, you earn the very same degree, you're taught by the very same faculty, you go to the very same UCLA Anderson campus, but you continue to get promoted, you continue to gain years of experience, and most importantly, you continue to get a paycheck. So I borrowed $80,000, got my MBA, and then tripled my income when I left Chicago. My first job was for 6 years with a German company called Siemens. I got to start in the Silicon Valley. I earned a promotion to the world headquarters in Munich, Germany, and had an incredible 6-year run, and just, you know, paid off a whole bunch of my loans and got a chance to have what I like to call a wow MBA result. Like little Dylan Stafford from East Texas with a history degree from Texas A&M, there's no way that I was going to get a job with a Fortune 50 company in the Silicon Valley and then earn a promotion to the world headquarters in Munich, Germany, get to live in Germany for 3 years, right? Get to learn a new language, get to be paid to live in a different part of the world doing a totally different thing with my life. And when you hear Nancy and David and Andy in a moment, they're going to tell you like where they are right now, halfway through the program, and what's already opening up in their horizons. But this is a degree that it's not for people with small goals. If you want a 10% raise, there's no reason you should borrow 6 figures and get an MBA. This is an opportunity for people who want to make a big splash, and they want to deal with complexity. They want to know that they have the ability and the confidence to lead a modern organization through all of the change that is impacting all of us in all of our careers right now. So just to make it very, very real, these were spoken to by Christy a moment ago. For the last 4 years, our career services team spends all summer after graduation making sure we know where people are. And by 4 months after graduation, these results are where our graduates in the classes of 19, 20, 21, and 22 are compared to where they were when they began the program. So again, you don't get an MBA if you want a 10% raise. That's the wrong, you should not do this program. There are many other things you could do, but this program is for people who want bigger responsibilities and they want to raise the trajectory of their career, and they want to partner with a trusted resource like UCLA to get someplace much bigger than they would get by just slow and steady working and earning your way forward in your career. So if you think about your salary now, and you think about, okay, I could start this program in the fall of 23, I would be in the class of 2026. So 3 academic years from now, my salary could go up 49, 55, or even 60%. That's, that's what this is about. And what that probably means is you won't have the same title. You probably won't have the same manager. You might still be at UCLA, but you would be playing a much bigger game. And that's a good thing. We hope you want to earn this MBA and bring your talent and keep your talent to the village that is UCLA. But again, I'm not going to have a 60% salary increase in my life if I have the same title and the same manager 3 years from now. This is really an opportunity to shake up your snow globe, right? And that's what we're about. And not everybody wants that. But if you do want that, we are the #1 part-time MBA in Southern California ever since rankings begin. And you will surround yourself with tier 1 research faculty, with incredible classmates, and you'll give yourself an experience that will grow your confidence beyond what you can probably even imagine right now. Every single person who comes to this program will deal with imposter syndrome, and every single person who graduates this program will have a lifelong managerial competency, so that imposter syndrome, not a problem anymore, right? Because it's not something to run from, it's something to push into, to lean into, to challenge yourself in a supportive, nurturing environment. We graduate 98% of the people who start our program, and we're very proud of that statistic. So I'm going to land the plane. This is the fellowship. There were lots of questions in the chat. It's $30,000 in total value. Right now, we have money for every single UCLA staff. That would be amazing if we ran out of money, but we've not so far. Our dean is very generous with this. So you can think 140,000 minus 30,000, your cost of attendance is 110,000. There were some questions in the chat. Can it be combined with anything else? Not from our resource. That's all that we have. And I just want to end with, before I give it back to Christy for our panel, there's another SAO to Assistant Dean story, which is Steve Yu, who's currently the Assistant Dean of the law school. And I'll put the link in the chat. I have a drive time interview with Steve. Steve actually started at UCLA as a student clerk and is a double Bruin and has been in the same office for 23 years and earned his MBA from the fully employed MBA program in 2003. He's now the Chief Financial Officer and the Assistant Dean of UCLA Law, and he's the president of the LA chapter of the Alumni Association. So Nancy, David, and Andy are going to help you start imagining wow MBA results for you. Again, thank you, Staff Assembly, for allowing us to reach out to all of you. Thank you. It's over 100 people today, taking an hour to look at what's possible. Christy, myself, all of us, we are here. I have hundreds of hours of myself recorded talking with student and alumni. You can look up the drive time either on UCLA, either Google UCLA Drive Time on YouTube or UCLA Drive Time on SoundCloud. I have almost 100 episodes of interviews with successful alumni and staff. So, all right, Christy, I want to give you some minutes back, hand it back to you.
Thank you, Dylan. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And let's go ahead and share our staff slide here. Okay, can you all see the student panel slide? Let's see, okay, great. So I'd like to welcome our panelists here today, Nancy, Andy, and David. So I'm going to just ask each of you to take a few minutes to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your career path so far, and how you decided to pursue the fully employed MBA program at Anderson. So let's start with Nancy.
Hi, great to see you all here. Thank you so much for joining.
Here.
Yeah, happy to be here. So I'll just start off with who I am. I am firstly 34 years old, so not super young. So for those of you who think you're too old, think again. I'm also a mom, so you have kids, you could do it. He's 5 years old. For the past 5 years, I've been a project manager for the Public Mental Health Partnership at Semel Institute. Before that, I was a office assistant and also a staff research associate. After I graduated from UCLA for my undergrad, I had a really hard time finding work. I had not done any internships as an undergrad. I didn't have an extremely strong GPA, hadn't done any networking. So for me, the MBA was a time for a do-over.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Nancy. And I love that you had the perspective as a parent in the program. I think that's so important for folks to hear it, like that kind of experience. It's definitely unique, and it's like you said, it's doable, and it's a very supportive environment for that. So, all right, Andy, you're next.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Andy Cofino. I'm really excited to be part of the FEMBA program in class of 2025. I've been at UCLA. I've been a Bruin for almost 5 years. My professional trajectory and background has been in supporting LGBTQIA+ communities in higher education for over 15 years. So my background is in higher education, social justice education, creative writing. So very unique background. Given what I've just shared, it can be implied that a lot of my academic background and expertise prior to starting this MBA program was really in the social sciences. So I have a very strong history and background professionally, but also academically, more in social sciences, the creative arts, English, LGBTQ studies, social justice, those spaces. And so I decided to pursue my MBA so I can round out that toolkit that I have and really understand the nuances of the business space. Being in higher ed so long, this is really helping me build out that toolkit. I also have been running my own private consulting firm for over 10 years, supporting organizations around their inclusion efforts, around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so this toolkit is also helping me build out how to speak the language of business, right? How to read a budget, how to do accounting. I just did my accounting final, God help me, right? How to build out my toolkit and get me set up so that as I work with my private consulting clients and also do my work here at UCLA, it's efficient, it's effective, and it's rooted in really foundational business-minded insights and skills. And I've been really, really happy with the program so far.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for joining us. David. Hi, David.
Right. My name's David. I actually work at UCLA Anderson, to better or worse. And it's the perspective is a little different, but it's more or less the same. I've been at UCLA Anderson I hit my 11th year this past December. So yay, I got more vacation time. So that's always good. And a few years into my career, I actually got a management position at Anderson, where I managed a number of employees. Like a lot of people who get that at UCLA, there wasn't an exhaustive amount of official training that we had to do for that. And a lot of it was hoping that I enriched the lives of people who work for me. I don't know if I didn't have a baseline to compare for that, so hopefully I didn't wreck anybody. That's the intent. The MBA really has been like this big thing where it's okay. If I'm going back to school, what am I pursuing? What am I trying to do? And a lot of it is the leadership part. It's how can I make sure that I feel confident in being able to lead others and lead teams to success, and to be better contributors to society. I think that's a really big part for me.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks, David. So I definitely want to leave time for the audience here today to ask questions. But before I open it up to any questions, I know you're all in the first year of the program. And so you're all, although you're new to the program, you've already done so much and you've already learned so much. So I definitely want to hear, I would love for you to share about how you've seen the MBA, the fully input MBA program impact your career so far, day to day or just in general. So anybody can kick that one off first.
There's a lot of it. I think Andy touched on the accounting portion. We had our accounting core course this past quarter. So this current quarter, I guess. Nancy and I are in the Saturday section, Andy's in a weeknight section, and we've all completed our accounting finals. I think immediately this is kind of a fun part, but I just 2 hours ago, a conversation came up about AWS and Amazon's financials. And if you asked me 4 months ago, I would have no idea what cost of revenue is. If you asked me that 4 months ago, I have no idea. But today I went and I explained, hey, AWS is a huge part of their revenues. Here's their 10K from last month. Let me show you. And it was actually really, really fun to be able to do that. But in terms of day-to-day, a lot of the questions a lot of the way I think and a lot of the questions I ask to my management now is very strategic in nature now. The question types are very different than they were 6 months ago 7 months ago when we started. And it's a much more like overall, I took a step back, I can see a much bigger picture. And I feel like I'm asking much better questions than I did 7 months ago at work.
For me, last quarter's class on organizational behavior has had the biggest impact on my current role. I lead a small team of administrators at my work, and I also do a lot of hiring. And there were, for example, things in our hiring that I hadn't noticed, I guess weren't being done properly, in the sense of our biases were inadvertently affecting some of our hiring, and we hadn't really been aware of that. But after taking that organizational behavior class, I realized that there were processes that could be done different during the screening process to ensure that we weren't excluding folks by accident for reasons that weren't how qualified they were. So I could already see an improvement in that. Also related to leading teams, motivating my team, meeting with them regularly. I was doing some of those things already, but taking that class in particular really helped me to improve on that. So I've been just more mindful in general in the workplace. And I think that's really gonna take me far in my future leadership positions, but is already making a difference. So that's been great.
Yeah, in addition to what folks have already shared, we took data and decisions last year, which was not my favorite, but as somebody with not a great quant background, that actually really did help me think through how to visually display pieces of information. If I'm giving a presentation on folks' experiences within the university or nationally, being able to demonstrate that in a way using graphs and charts is actually very impactful and very important. And it actually has a direct impact on more of the social elements of the ways that people are experiencing the organization, et cetera. And so things like that have been tremendously helpful. Another piece that I think is really important is the social networking aspect of this program is absolutely humongous. Now, we're all a part of the UCLA community already, but think about extending your network times 100, right? In every direction, across every sector and industry, across your current area, but then outside of your area. And what happens with that? I mean, I've gone to some events that I would have never imagined I would have even attended. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to an event that the Entertainment Management Association put on that was featuring 2 of the writers from Friends. Like, I'm not going to go into entertainment, but how fun is that? Like, I had such a great time. It was such a cool way to round out the academic and some of those pieces with also some of the interpersonal, which is so critical to this program.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. It's so cool. The Friends writers, like you would never have that kind of like opportunity unless you're in that in the program. So that's pretty cool. Okay, and we have about 15 minutes left. Dylan, do you have a question for the audience before I open it up to not the audience, the panelists, before I open it up to the audience?
Just, before we get done, if they could squeeze in, if I knew then what I know now, but that's only if they have time. You're doing great, Christy. This is awesome. And guys, I love the perspective. Thank you. I love how you're applying it like in real time, because that's a huge difference that FEMBA makes available, is to hear it in organizational behavior and change my hiring decisions in real time, to answer a question about how is Amazon doing and having an informed opinion. Like that's the difference that the fully employed MBA program makes in real time to a person's intellectual and professional growth journey. Thank you for those offerings.
Great. Awesome. Okay. Well, we definitely want to take some questions from the audience. So I'm going to actually stop sharing so I can see everyone here. So if you do have a question, please use the raise your hand feature, and then we'll just call on you and you can unmute and you'll be able to ask your question. Sandeep, you have a question for our panel?
I am sorry, that's what happens when you talk on mute. I do. I have a question about the GRE GMAT. I am hearing about the FEMBA for the first time, and I have been with UCLA almost a decade. So that's something bad on me. So my question is, I do not have a GMAT or a GRE yet. And how do I still apply? And how do I get it done within this year? It's going to be a race against time for me to do a GRE GMAT at this point in time before May 31st.
Right. Yeah. We definitely are happy to discuss with you. So we take the GMAT, the GRE, or the executive assessment. If you have at least 8 years of work experience, you do qualify to take the executive assessment over the GMAT or GRE. Sandeep, I would encourage you to email me and I could set up a time to discuss with you, to kind of strategize how to make sure we either get you to apply for this fall or next year if it makes more sense. So we definitely don't want you to feel rushed, but if there is the opportunity to apply now and you're interested in starting as soon as possible, we can definitely work with you. So does that sound good? You can just email me. Let me put my email address in the chat here so everybody has it, but I'll also be emailing everyone after today so that you can sign up for a one-on-one appointment with me if that's helpful. I do have availability this week, next week, so there's definitely time. And as a friendly reminder, we do have rolling admission till the end of May. So we still have a couple months for you to submit an application.
Got it. Sorry, go ahead.
David? Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of, I think that one of the bigger questions is about the exam, the GRE, GMAT, or the executive assessment. And this is something that obviously every applicant faces and the questions that they face. And I did the same thing last year, right? I was a round 3 applicant. So I actually, I was still doing my application this time last year. I actually just took the GMAT a week ago this time last year. What I like to tell people is I mean, when you're in it, it's big, but the GMAT is one part of your application. It's not your application. So do the best you can, and admissions is always there to answer any questions if you have any questions about it. But again, it is one part of your application. It's not your application. Some of us, just talking to the class of 25, some of us studied for months for it. Some of us studied for 2 weeks for it. So it really depends on the way you operate and the way that you prepare for exams.
Yeah, to David's point, like it is a very holistic review process. I mean, we're not just going to look at your score and automatically admit or deny, based on that. So we want to get to know everyone as a full person. We want to know your goals, why MBA, why Anderson. And of course, we want to make sure you're academically prepared to succeed in the program, which is where the score, the GPA comes in. So it's definitely, a very, very holistic review process, and we're happy to work with you all. So we're definitely going to take some more questions. If you have more specific questions regarding your candidacy or want to discuss like the application requirements further, please reach out to me, Dylan, anybody on our team to learn a little bit more. We're also doing an info session next Wednesday night, which is a full info session, which will be a deeper dive into the requirements, the academics. So I would encourage you after today, if you still have questions about the program and requirements, sign up for next Wednesday night's info session. I'll be sending you a link to register for that too after today. So yeah, happy to help you all. But Davida, You have a question? Hi.
I do. Hi. Can you tell me, thank you, first of all, for this presentation. It's been great. So for rolling admissions, if you're, does that mean, or is it possible if you don't, for instance, get into that class for the fall, can you roll over into reapplying, the following year, either keeping the same application and updating it, or how does that work with the admissions process?
Yeah. So if you start an application now and you decide not to apply, from my understanding, not everything rolls over till next year. So you would need, like if you had already done your essays, gotten your letters of recommendation in, you would need new ones and up-to-date ones. So I would say, holding off and starting the application when you're pretty sure you're going to be applying for that upcoming fall would be a good idea, but I know that some parts might roll over, so it really just depends on which parts those are. So
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Juliet.
Hi. There was one thing on, I guess, for EC students who have had an undergraduate degree or some other degree previously. There was some mention of a quant course, and I was wondering what exactly that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let me put the link here in the chat. Let's see. So again, that would be like finance, accounting, statistics, econ, calculus, advanced math, maybe even engineering, physics. Any other quantitative course not listed would still qualify. So here, I'll put the link. This has a more detailed overview of UC Connect. So if you still have questions, please email us and we're happy to help. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, great. So I want to make sure our panelists here today get some questions too, since they're spending their time with us. So if you have questions for our panel, please, raise your hand and ask questions for our panel today. If you have questions about admissions requirements, just feel free to email us and we'll definitely help you with that. Okay, Christina.
Hi, Christy.
Hi.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So is there like an acceptance rate or the number of people that you guys accepted within the pool of UCLA staff if this info is available or it can be disclosed?
We don't disclose that information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
But Christy, I'd just add for Christina, some people get worried that you can't get admitted in round 3 because they read on the internet that there's no seats in round 3. And we maintain the same admission standard throughout the 3 rounds. Employed working professionals typically apply late because they have bosses and lots of demands on their life, like 5-year-olds or 4-year-olds last year. So your odds of getting in are the same right now as they would be if you had applied in the fall. So just wanted to add that.
Nancy, you want to add something?
Yeah, just in terms of the GPA, I
Yeah.
remember that I was concerned and wanted to know what the GPA was because I was worried that mine was too low. So if that is your concern, please don't feel discouraged from applying. As Christy said, it is a holistic review. And if you are admitted with a slightly lower GPA or whatever it might be, you do have resources that ensure that you will succeed. So don't feel discouraged and do reach out to me on LinkedIn if you are someone in those shoes. I'd be happy to connect and tell you more.
Thanks, Nancy. We appreciate you being willing to chat with people about that. I know that is definitely a common concern. So, and oh, Carolyn, yes, you have a question?
Hi, good morning. My name is Carolyn. I work at UCLA Health. I had a question for the panelists. What has it been like juggling both your schoolwork and the 40 to 60 hours that you're working each week? If you could speak to that a little bit, I think it would be helpful.
This is a fun one because I had this conversation with someone with people 3 weeks ago, and we were like, Do you remember a time when we didn't have school and work at the same time? And this was only 7 months ago, right? And it's crazy because the first response I got from someone was, that was so boring. And I'm like, okay. I think it's been fine, actually. I think my department, my work's been pretty supportive of it. And for me, if anything, it's actually enriched both sides of it, having the perspective of both the staff and the student side. So I can bring what I have in the classroom into work, and then the vice versa. You have to be a lot better about budgeting your time and your energy. That is something, though. I will say that it's both of those. It's not just time. I learned that really fast last quarter. I think Anderson provides so many more resources than you can entertain. All I am is just FOMO all day with all the school events and anything that I can pursue. But it's kind of picking and choosing what you think is valuable to you and what you'll get out of things. And then for me, I slot into a calendar. I mean, I don't have a 5-year-old at home, so I can't speak to that part of it. But for me, it's a lot of calendaring and just the support that I get from my work and from the program.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
Hey, if I could just add on to that, sorry, real quick. Having a 5-year-old and school and work, it just becomes your new normal. You get really good at juggling everything, and you just kind of like create a schedule for yourself, and it's all just manageable. I'm really fortunate in my work too that they're very flexible. You have like education hours. I believe we all have education hours. Those are something that I've really been putting to use once it comes time to attending events or even studying for a test. So I'd say you do get used to it and it is manageable. But if it becomes too much, there is also the option to like skip a quarter, for example, take like a brief leave. So there are options. You don't just like flunk out if you have a tough quarter, heavy projects one time or whatever, but definitely manageable.
I agree. I also think it's about your priorities. I mean, I think certainly time management, I've gotten much better at that, but also communication. Like when finals, my friend's birthday party was last weekend, and I was like, well, try to do better on my final or go to a birthday party. And I'm like, I need to, really prioritize that for myself, especially because we're investing so much time and money and resources into this program. I want to succeed and I want to get the most out of the program as I can. So sometimes that might mean not doing things that I would have done 7 months ago in order to accommodate. And that for me has definitely been manageable.
That's a great point. Their true friends will remain your friends, right? They would understand, hey, I have to prioritize school right now. Awesome. Thanks for that. Camilla?
Hi, everyone. Are you guys able to hear me? Sometimes my mic doesn't work.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. So I was just a little bit curious to ask, how are you guys navigating maybe discussions with your current employers about maybe a salary raise when you guys complete your program, or do you guys plan on switching to complete different employers, not UCLA affiliated, if that's not too personal?
Well, to be honest, happy to share, I do plan to pivot to something outside of UCLA, something possibly like corporate. There is always the option of staying here because of the way my program is funded. Most likely a increase of what I'm looking for would be outside of my current program. So I expect that I won't be having actually those conversations with my current employers.
I would just offer too that once you're into the program, if you're admitted and whatnot, and you move forward, there's a whole career management team and resources that provide you a tremendous amount of information about what it would look like to work in other industries and in other areas. There's like a salary database where you can go, when you're making big decisions about where you're going to be, it's not only your physical organization, but also all of the pieces of compensation that is a part of that. And there's a lot of resources within the program that shares with you all of that information so that you can make the informed decision. Does it make sense to stay in my current role, my current position, UCLA? Does it make sense to pivot based on your specific moment in your life and your needs? And there's a lot of resources within FEMBA, within Anderson to actually enable you to answer that question for yourself.
Yeah, and my
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go for it,
I was
Dave.
gonna say my strategy was just knowing how specific things work. I engaged my senior management, my director, pretty early on. I actually let him know when I applied, just so that I can give them ample time to be able to adjust and try to move things around to see what we can get in terms of opportunity.
And I was just going to dovetail quick, as the son of a teacher and a preacher, like I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. And it's an incredible toolkit to know how to represent yourself accurately in the marketplace. I just thought you work hard and people will pay you. And the MBA gave me a toolbox that I continue to use, both to be paid, but also to put yourself into great projects and to just put yourself into opportunities that inspire you to get out of bed in the morning. So, you know, the ROI is financial, but it's also about opening up options. There's no way I could have ever gone to Germany. There's no way I'd be a dean at UCLA without having invested in a graduate degree like an MBA. So sorry, we're going over. Christy, back to you. Thank you, panel.
That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much to our panel. Unfortunately, we are out of time. This always happens. It just feels like we don't have enough time to get through all the amazing points that we want to make. But thank you all. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everyone, UCLA staff, Dylan for being here today, and Raymond for helping out with the panel, the presentation today as well. We again are happy to stay in contact. Please shoot me an email, introduce yourself. I'm happy to set up a time to chat over the phone or Zoom to learn more about you and your goals. There's still time if you're interested in this fall, but if you're aiming for future years, we're always happy to chat about that too. So this is my email address again. I'll be emailing you soon. I'll be sending you information on the program, also a link to sign up for next week's in-depth FEMBA overview webinar. So please join us there as well. And take care, everyone. I'll stick around for a few minutes in case anybody wants to ask any questions last minute. And then if not, I will hopefully see you all again soon.